Hi everybody, it's Genghis. I feel like this video is a long time coming. I've promised a few of my friends that I would make this video. I've gifted spiritual baths, by the way, this is about spiritual baths, to friends throughout the years, and I've had a lot of people, especially lately, call me about like protection and cleansing and all this other stuff. And the most simple way I feel that you can cleanse yourself and or protect yourself, because in my world those are two separate things, is spiritual bathing. And also I personally use spiritual bathing as maintenance. So I talk a lot about spiritual baths with friends, and it does get kind of confusing, especially if I'm trying to explain how to do a spiritual bath over a phone or just in text or whatever. You're not going to get a full scope of how this works, so definitely decided to do a video. So, spiritual baths. So if you're a person like me who works with a lot of, the public, you're surrounded by a lot of people's energy, or you're the type of person that tends to collect a lot of haters, it's definitely important for you to be able to find a way to wash off all that shit. And my personal favorite is spiritual baths. Now, if I feel like I'm extra funky, or if I've kind of like lagged on my maintenance and stuff, I'll definitely light a candle and do a ritual for it. But I tend to find that as long as I stay on this, I'm usually pretty good. Plus, I'm very spiritually guarded with a lot of things. So usually I don't have to light candles for stuff. But this is definitely a good start. If you are feeling kind of funky, you think somebody might be tossing work at you, or if you've been doing a lot of work, which you should definitely start work with the spiritual bath and end work with the spiritual bath, especially if you're doing kind of more less than love and light type work. Definitely get on the spiritual bath. So there's definitely different types of spiritual baths. What we're going to focus on today is more cleansing and protection, because in my world those are two different things. But there is definitely spiritual baths where you can kind of bring more things to you. Like there's prosperity baths where you bring prosperity your way, money drawing type stuff. There's stuff for love. There's stuff for road opening. There's different types of spiritual baths for different types of things. But again, most importantly, I think cleansing and protection is definitely ones that you should practice. So that's what we're going to start off with. People do things in different ways. It's just my method of how I do it. Definitely continue watching other people's videos and see what works best for you. This has worked best for me, so I'm the type of person, I don't fix things that are not broken, so this is my method. So what I have here is different types of herbs that their function is for cleansing, and some of these also can be used for protection as well. You can kind of do a bath for both if you want. That's fine as well. Yeah, so in other videos I've mentioned how I do prefer to work with fresh type ingredients. That definitely depends on what it is that I'm doing. Spiritual baths is one of them. If I'm burning herbs, of course you can't burn herbs that are fresh, but I do have a mix here of both dry and fresh, because I also know not everybody has a garden, not everybody has a green thumb, not everybody has the ability to grow their own spiritual herbs, and that's fine. Intention is definitely key. Speaking life and breathing life into your herbs, especially dried herbs, definitely can help. Speaking your intention, praying over these things, that'll add a lot of juice to your work. Now the difference that I find between fresh versus dry is that dry is kind of almost like for lack of a better term, more of a zombie version of herbs. They're dried. They've lost a little bit of their life, but they're not totally dead. They're still there. But because of that is the reason why it is very important for you to breathe life into herbs, especially if they're dry. Now, that video that I did, that some of you saw, that says that's titled the Bruja version of Suck and Blow. That wasn't just a video of me trying to be cute. I mean, I was trying to be cute, but that actually does have a function. So A lot of people who know me personally, I love tobacco. I love my cigars. I've been smoking cigars for years, like even before I started doing a lot of this. It was kind of a perk for me to learn that, oh shit, tobacco is a very sacred herb, and a lot of spirits will take it as an offering. So if I'm doing like gris, or if I'm like taking items and their function is kind of to be like a servitor for me, a lot of those spirits will take tobacco as an offering. And a lot of times herbs are no different. So when you see me breathing smoke, I call it shotgunning. Now, anybody who does this stuff, if there's a different term, because I call it shotgunning herbs, if there's a different term for that, please drop it in the comments, because I might sound a little ghetto, like, oh yeah, I shotgun my herbs. Well, that's what I'm gonna call it, because I don't know any better. But when I, breathe my tobacco into my herbs, the two functions is I'm breathing life into my herbs. I'm taking my own breath, and I am breathing life into those herbs. I am putting life back into my zombie herbs with that cigar. And on top of that too, tobacco, it is an offering. So I also use the tobacco smoke as an offering as I'm breathing it. And on top of that, it is my breath. So especially if this is a working for myself, I'm personalizing it. There's definitely other ways that you can breathe life into your herbs. You don't have to be a smoker to do it. So don't feel like you have to do that. You don't have to take up smoking cigars to do this stuff. It's just people like me who are already smokers. I mean, fuck it. Why not? Use what you got, right? Anyways, so that would be the difference between fresh herbs and zombie herbs, is that, these kind of need a little bit more of your essence in them to kind of like liven them up, as opposed to these, where these are fresh cuttings. They're still alive. There's still plenty of life in them. Anyway, so the herbs that I chose to go, that I went with are basil, rue, hyssop, and angelica root. These are usually what I'll use. Sometimes I'll toss in a little bit of sage in there. My friends that know me best, I don't particularly like to burn sage, but I will bathe in sage if I feel like I need it. A lot of this stuff is kind of based off of intuition and what my ancestors are telling me. But if I'm just kind of collected a little bit of funk, I won't go past these 4 herbs, because I just feel like I don't need to. And if I want to add a little bit more, I'll go with Florida water. I'll just, after I'm done with all of this, once all of my herbs and all that other stuff is in my bathtub, I'll just toss a little bit of Florida water, just kind of give it a little bit more juice. So sometimes people, they'll take the water, they'll boil it on the stove. Other friends of mine will do it like a tea, where they'll take their herbs and they'll stick it in a tea bag and drop it in the water. I kind of like to get my hands dirty with all of the stuff that I do. I feel like the more that I put my ashe, my magic, my essence, whatever's on my skin, whatever's on my breath, whatever's part of me into my work, it works a lot faster and it's a lot more effective. So I do tend to do things a little bit more of a dirty way. I do get, herbs underneath my nails, because I do tend to keep my nails long, but whatever. It's for good reasons. So what I like to do is I'll take this pitcher, stays next to somewhere around my tub. I'll put nice hot water in there, not too hot to where it's going to burn my hand, but hot enough to where I can make kind of like a tea. We're going to make like basically a bath tea with this stuff. You'll see like this water is going to turn colors like a tea, and that's basically what's happening with the herbs. So taking my first herb, which is basil. Now, when you're putting together this bath, as you're dropping it in, you want to pray. You want to pray over everything that you do. You want to stick your intention into it, and you just talk to it. I know a lot of people don't really know how to pray, and that's fine, because, when I tell people like, oh, pray over stuff, well, how do I do that? Because, I don't know. Sometimes just simply speaking works fine. You don't have to do like how they do on the movies where they're speaking in Latin and all kinds of foreign languages and shit. That stuff's really not all that important. And one thing you'll also find too with a lot of magic is that your ancestors, especially if you're working with ancestor magic, a lot of your ancestors don't speak English. They speak other languages. And one of the reasons why we do a lot of things like that symbolize certain things is almost like a, how would I describe it? Like a form of sign language, I guess, for the lack of a better term, to communicate your intention to your ancestors, which is why, like, folding things away or towards you, or stirring things or laying things clockwise or counterclockwise and stuff. Those are all forms of communication. And it's the same thing with the different types of herbs that you're using. Like, there's kind of like a universal sort of language that goes with this type of work. And so if you feel like you need to speak in some sort of fancy tongue, that's definitely not important. But the more intention, the more attention that you put into your work, you're more effectively communicating to spirits your intention of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, if that makes sense. Again, like I said in a previous video, you have to bear with me with these videos and stuff, because I'm not used to speaking on these videos and stuff, but I definitely want to help my friends out with this stuff. Anyway, so as you're working your herbs in your water, it's a good time to speak your intention, pray, phase out, meditate. I'm working on meditation. Meditation is one of the hard things for me. And just, tell these herbs, like all these different herbs, they have a different function. Talk to them, it's just like live plants. I'm going to do another video on all the different fucking plants around my house. But plants like it when you talk to them, they just do. Singing, like, just mere intent. Like I was telling one of my friends, actually, and this is rue, so we're going to stick the rue in there and just pretend like I did all my prayers on basil. One thing I was telling my friend the other day, and this is when you would be speaking to the rue, telling it its intention. You can see my water starting to get a little cloudy. It's starting to turn kind of a greenish color and stuff, and that's just the warm water interacting. And it's ooh, I can smell the rue. The essence of all the herbs and stuff are going in there. But I was telling my friend, like, as far as like kitchen witchery goes and some of the simple things that you can do, I mean, to people's food, if you do that type of stuff, which sometimes I do, singing while you cook tends to make your food taste better. And it's funny because he was just like, you know what, now that I mention it, when I'm in a good mood and I'm cooking and stuff, it does taste better. It's just like, yeah, like, you're not really saying anything like specific, but just that joy that comes with singing, especially to yourself and stuff, all that beautiful, rad energy, it goes into your food, So, it's very important, your intent and all that other shit, So we got our rue. We're gonna move on to hyssop. Now, hyssop is something that's mentioned in the Bible, Psalm 51, and that also brings me to other things that you can do. I am a firm believer in Bible magic. I use the Bible for a lot of my work. I'll, like, read Psalms over my work, especially with spiritual bathing, cleansing type bath and stuff. I'll read Psalm 31 or 91 sometimes, depending on what it is, more cleansing or more protection, whatever. Either one works pretty well. But, Psalm, I believe, 51, references hyssop. I'm sorry. Yes, it mentions hyssop. You could even read that over hyssop as you're getting it ready or pouring it in. You can pour it in, take out your Bible, read over your Psalms, and then mix that shit, You're going to get all these herbs sticking to your arms, sticking to your wrists, sticking to your hands, and you can see it's starting to turn a lot of colors and stuff. Just work that shit. Pray over it. Talk to your ancestors. Talk to whatever deities or spirits or energies that you use to help you get cleansed or help, protect you. Or just focus your attention on what it is that you're doing. That's fine too. Now, one of the reasons why I usually kind of reference spiritual baths as kind of like a faster way of cleansing is that this doesn't have to be a all day process. Like usually when I'm doing like spells and stuff, that is an all day process for me, where this will take me, I don't know, like 30 minutes. Now, what's also important when you're doing spiritual bathing is that you already want to physically be clean. You want to take a shower. You want to cleanse your body, cleanse your hair, cleanse your cleanse everything about you, because this is not a physical cleansing bath. This is a spiritual, emotional sort of experience. So you definitely want to get rid of all that physical gunk off your body before you do this, because this is not the type of bath to wash away dirt. This is the type of bath to wash away spiritual funk, if that makes sense. So definitely make sure that your body is clean before you do all of this. Okay, so next thing that we're going to use is angelica root. So you can see all the herbs are sticking to my hand. That's pretty normal for me with everything. I get oils, herbs, whatever in my hair. I should probably be wrapping my hair, but I usually don't because I'm that kind of lazy. It gets all in my fingernails, all over my clothes. Herbs end up on the floor, whatever. If I'm in the middle of doing something and I spill herbs on the floor, I'm probably not going to take the 2 seconds it takes to clean it up. I'm just going to kind of carry about my routine, because that's the type of shit that I do. So you can see it's starting to turn into kind of a tea. Again, some of my friends use tea bags. Some of them just kind of just like let it boil on the stove and create kind of a tea that way. I like to kind of just spend the time to kind of get my hands in these herbs, because I'm a dirty girl. I'm a dirty girl, but I'm a spiritual clean girl. I guess that's how I'd rather be anyway. Whatever. All right. So I said all my prayers, spoke all my intention, talked to all my plants and my herbs and shit, because they like that shit, right? Okay. So one thing that I've noticed, especially on the internet, when people like to post their spiritual baths and stuff, they got herbs all over inside their water. And you could probably put like something in the drain to kind of collect it, but don't let these herbs go down the drain. It's not good for your drainage system, and then you're just going to develop a whole lot of other problems further down the line than you intended. So what I personally do, and this is another reason why I use a pitcher, I'll take a piece of cheesecloth, put it over the top, and then take a rubber band. Boom. So I will pour this into my bath water, because what I'll do is I'll already fill up, or I'll start to, after this is done, I'll let it sit, but I'll start to fill up my tub with water that, you know, warm but comfortable, you know. Pray, pray, pray. If I want to, stick my Florida water in there and stuff. Pray, pray, pray. Read my Psalms, blah, 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 blah. And then I will take this and I will pour it from the pitcher. That way, no herbs go down the drain. I was able to sit there and put all of my intent all over my herbs. And then I'll be ready as soon as like the bath water is at a good level. I'm ready to sit in my bath and enjoy my bath. Kind of zone out. Think about my intention and what it is that I want to do. If it's a cleansing bath, I want to picture my body and my soul being cleansed of all the funk that I've collected. Now, when you're doing cleansing baths, make sure that you start from the top of your head and you work yourself down all the way to your toes. Some of us that don't like our hair getting wet, too bad. Now you're going to have to sacrifice wet hair for this one. But like definitely start from the top of your head and just wash yourself. Imagine you pushing all of that shit off of your body all the way down to your toes. Now, if you're doing kind of something to bring something towards you, like prosperity or some sort of love sort of work or whatever, you want to start from your feet and you want to wash it all the way up to your head. I'll spend probably a good 15 minutes in the tub, just like thinking of my intent and just you know, making it fucking happen so I can carry about the next day, not feeling so fucking funky all the time. You know, I come in contact with a lot of people all the time, like even on the internet and stuff. It's amazing how people even though they're not sitting next to you, they can still drain you of all your fucking energy. I don't want to carry that shit with me, so It's definitely important to know how to do these things. Now, it's definitely suggested too. I do these things at nighttime. You can do it during the day, but it's definitely important for you to spend some time, you know, just like reflecting, you know. And if you do this before you have to head to work and stuff, you're not really spending the energy that you probably need to fully kind of like, I don't know, let the herbs work. Also too, when you come out of these spiritual baths, don't rinse yourself off. You want all these herbs and all their juices and all their essence to kind of get into your pores, get into your skin. You want to air dry. Do not towel dry. So you'll be standing there for a little bit to dry off. So definitely don't do these things in a hurry. I mean, really, it's probably not good to do any kind of spiritual work in a hurry or when you're kind of in a time crunch. Make sure that you're investing or finding the time to kind of like take care of yourself. And this is one of good ways to take care of yourself, you know, dedicate the time. So if you know you don't have the time, do it at the end of the day, you know, and then make sure that you fill your environment with white. That's one of the reasons why, well, you can't see my bedding is white. You know, I have white clothes specifically because I wear a lot of black, but I do have clothes that are specifically designated for this type of work to make sure everything around me is clean and in the clear, and I can keep my head in that space to be able to focus my attention on getting myself clean. Yeah, I hope this helped. I've been posting a lot of like, you know, plant videos and, you know, house plant. I'm going to continue those videos and we'll definitely move on to more witchcraft type stuff. But this was definitely important for me to touch base with because I did promise a lot of people I would make this video. So I definitely hope this helped. Yes, I do make my own line of baths and stuff. This is one way you can do it, or you can buy one from me. Either way, it doesn't fucking matter. You're going to find the combination that works best for you. Now, as far as these, because it is all dried herb, I did put my hot-ass breath all over your fucking bath so you don't have to breathe life into all your shit. I put my hot-ass breath all over this shit, so you're welcome. And the cleansing one, which is wash off the funk, is it's got 9 herbs in it. I think that's plenty to defunk your ass. And on top of that too, it's good for 2 baths. You really do not need a lot of herbs to make this happen. It's not like a bubble bath where there's bubbles everywhere and stuff. You just need enough to leave an essence, to leave a mark, to pull all that funk. It's almost like a fucking spiritual funky like diuretic. It's pulling all the shit out of your pores. But you definitely don't need a lot of herbs to do that. So don't think that you need a million things to accomplish this, because you don't. And for people who don't have access to angelica root or rue or some of the things that I just mentioned, I also made a video for good substitutes that you can find things in your kitchen or in your grocery store, and those work just as well, you know. So yeah. If you liked my video, subscribe, click the fucking bell if you want to get notified of new videos that I make. And I'll try to get better at public video speaking and editing and all that other stuff, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sure I forgot a bunch of things, but, you know, public speaking isn't really my thing. I just like to look pretty and shut the fuck up while I puff cigar smoke in millionaires' faces. Hope everybody enjoyed shit. I will see you later.